بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه وبعد. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about the punishment of the one who does not act upon their knowledge. And in a narration he says that a man will be brought on the day of resurrection and he'll be cast into hell. And his intestines will pour forth in hell, and he will go around them like a donkey in a mill. And the inhabitants of hell will gather around him and say, "What has happened to you, O so-and-so? Did you not used to enjoin us on what was right and forbid us from what was wrong?" He will reply, "I used to tell you what to do in terms of what was right and not to do it and not do it myself. And I used to forbid you from wrong, but do it myself." So this narration brings out to us the importance of practicing what we preach. This scene which the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has described for us on the day of resurrection indicates to us that this man will be humiliated before the inhabitants of Jahannam. Because the inhabitants of Jahannam will recognize him, and they will approach him, and they will ask him that, "Were you not that person who used to tell us to do X, Y, and Z? Were you not the one who used to forbid us from doing X, Y, and Z? Why are you in this situation that you are now?" And he will say that I used to tell you to do those things, and I never did them myself. And I used to forbid you from doing things, and I used to do them myself. Now, there's obviously a very important point that needs to be made here, and it should not be misunderstood. And that is that just because you cannot do something, it shouldn't be the case that you shouldn't call people to it or forbid people from it. Take, for example, the parent. Let's say there is a parent who does not pray. Does that now mean that they are under no moral obligation then to tell their children to pray? Of course not. What the scholars mention is that every single individual has 4 obligations. They have an obligation to do good. They have an obligation to stay away from what has been prohibited. They have an obligation to invite to what is good. And they have an obligation to forbid that which is wrong. So if a person is not doing 2 of them, meaning that he is not doing the good things himself and he is not refraining from the evil things himself, that doesn't mean that then he should sit back and say, "Well, I might as well not do the other two as well." Because that punishment is even worse. So the hadith is meant to encourage us to do all of them to the best of our abilities. Because we are under these obligations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we should try our best. We do not have a principle of all or nothing. We have the principle of فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, that a person should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to what he is capable of. And whatever he is capable of doing, he should do it. And he knows what he is capable of, and his Lord knows what he is capable of as well. So we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us tawfiq, hidayah and guidance to understand and act upon what we have. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله تعالى على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.